What is up, YouTube viewers? My name is Charlie Pangus with Char Media Group. Today I'm very excited to announce a new series that I started. It's called How to Make a Shirt Design. This is episode 1. This series is mainly to show you guys how to create awesome shirt designs in Photoshop using simple tools that are already at your disposal. A lot of people ask me, what kind of images do you use for your designs, or how do you get them, or whatever. A lot of the times you don't even need an image from Google or whatever it is, or you don't need to draw it. You can find it on Photoshop, or you can use simple shapes to make cool designs that don't technically need an image. Now, if you're the type of person that draws, you can easily draw an image and transfer it to Photoshop or Illustrator for that matter, and create something awesome out of it for your next shirt design. But in this series, like I said, I'm going to be going over a lot of the simple stuff that you can do with Photoshop, and then in the long run we're going to be creating cool stuff with it. So there's not a lot of technicality here. It's going to be really simple for you guys to pick up, and that's the whole goal of this series, is to teach you guys how to create shirt designs in the most simple manner. Obviously people want to learn stuff quick, and they don't want to know the rocket science behind how to make a shirt design. So with that being said, like I said, I'm very excited to start this series for you guys. I've been planning this for a while, and I've been making you guys wait. So this is my way of giving back, and you guys have already supported me so much, so I just wanted to thank you for that. But without further ado, I'm going to get started on this episode 1 design. This one's actually going to be really simple, I think. This one I'm going to be going over is I had in mind this sun with a banner and mountains in the background, and it's like kind of like a camping shirt design. Really laid back design, not too much going on with it. But the whole purpose of this episode 1 is to kind of introduce the series. So again, we're going to be using a lot of these simple tools in Photoshop. So anyway, instead of talking all day, I'm going to actually get started and show you guys how this is going to go down. So first off, I like doing things with the circle tool for some reason, or the ellipse tool you can call it. I had in mind I'm going to work with like a sun or something like that. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle out right away, because I already know I'm going to be working with that. And I'm going to name this sun. I know it's not a sun, but it can technically be a sun, because guess what? A sun's round, right? So we're going to go ahead and just draw a sun out, a circle out. And all I did to do that is I went to my shape tool here, and I went to the ellipse tool right here, and I just held shift, and then I dragged it out, and that's how I got that. So I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. I hold in shift on my keyboard, and I drag it out. And I can resize this anytime just by doing Command T, holding in shift and control, and I can resize it evenly. See? And that's shift and control. See? Now what I had in mind was also a banner. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a banner out here from scratch. Again, I don't need to draw this on a pen and paper. I can just take this tool, this rectangle tool, and create a banner. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there's my banner, guys, right there. See? And now I'm thinking I kind of want the banner to be an outline. I don't want it to be solid. A lot of the times I don't like to work with a lot of solid shapes. I like to add outlines to them. So what I'm going to do is I drew this rectangle out, which you guys can do easily just by using that shape tool. And you're going to notice a lot we're using this shape tool so much. It's going to be a very common thing to use. So get used to the shape tool palette here. It's got a bunch of different shapes in it, but it also has custom shapes. But we're not going to get into that just yet. We will in a little bit. So draw that rectangle out, and after you draw that rectangle out, you're going to go ahead and add a effects to it. So go to FX, all the way down from your layers palette, you'll see the FX symbol here, or icon, whatever it is, and then go to stroke. And we're going to add an inner stroke, and this inner stroke is going to be black, and I'm going to do about 50. Usually I do 50. And now the color is black, so I'm going to change that to white real quick. And you can do that, you can change the color many different ways. For instance, since we did not rasterize this, we can actually get rid of that color overlay. We can go to the shape palette here, and we can go to fill and just make it white. And I think that's a more professional way to do it. You don't really need a color overlay unless you really have to. Like, let's say you rasterized it, you'd have to add a color overlay, because that option would not be available for you under the shape option here. But anyway, so that's going to be the start of my banner. Now I'm thinking this is going to be really like a really condensed design. So the sun's going to be coming out right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to go ahead and take this sun here, like that. And I'm just going to play with it a little bit because I'm not sure what I want with it yet. I know I don't want it to be too overwhelming. I want it to be there. I want it to be present, but I don't want it to be something that's standing out too much. So again, this isn't going to be like the highlight of the design. It's just going to be an added feature. So we're going to keep that ellipse tool the way it is right now. We're going to be cutting that a lot. So this is going to be edited a lot. This ellipse tool is going to change drastically. But for now, again, we're working on the banner. So take this banner, and we're going to actually resize it just a little bit. It's a little too thick. I don't want it to be too thick. Actually, you know what? I say hell with it. It could be a little thick. I'm thinking I might put like one word in there or something. I might just put camping in there, or camp, something. I don't know. We'll find out right now. So to make this banner stand out even more, right now it's kind of boring. So I'm going to actually duplicate this by holding in Alt and dragging. And when you hold in Alt, you'll notice a little double arrow pops up, one solid, one hollow. And then once you see that, you can go ahead and drag with your mouse. And then at this point, you can finally let go of the mouse and then let go of Alt, and you have that duplicate. Or you can simply right-click and duplicate layer. Either way, it's up to you. Everybody has their own ways of doing things, I suppose. So I'm going to go ahead and resize this first off. And the reason why is because I don't want it to be too long, because it's supposed to be the end of the... It's going to be cut here, you know? And this is the I guess you could say the flag part of the banner. I don't know. So anyway, we're gonna keep it like that for now. Now, there's a couple ways I can make this into a flag shape, you know, or I guess you could say a pointy part of the banner. I don't even know what to call it, but there's a couple ways to do it. Mostly, you know, there are times where I can draw out like a triangle or something, and then put it right here. But I don't really do it that way personally. I kind of just do it by hand. I know it's probably not the best way to do it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would argue out there that's not the best way to do it, but that's the way I do it. So, for instance, I would do something like this, where I draw it out with the pen tool or the lasso tool. See, and then once I'm happy with it, I can do a mask. That's what I just did right now. So what I did is I used the polygonal tool, or lasso tool for short, and I would use that, and then like I said, I would just kind of shape it how I want it. And then once I got that shape I want, what I did is without deselecting this, I went to my layer that I wanted that selection cut out of, and I added a layer mask just by clicking the layer mask button. And then what it did is it was black right here, and I inverted it to turn white, and that's what gave me this effect, if that makes sense. So let me do it one more time, just to show you guys. We're going to go ahead and, so like I said, we're going to take the lasso tool, kind of shape it how you want it. I don't want it too sharp, actually. I want it to be a little bit more, I don't want it to be too deep. This triangle doesn't need to be too deep. And I'm just going to kind of reposition it a little bit to make it look at least semi-straight. I'm not too picky on the way that is right now. So anyway, after I have my selection and I'm happy with it, I'm kind of analyzing it right now, looking at it. I can go ahead and go to my my little layer mask tool with my rectangle 1 copy selected. I just click that mask tool. As you just noticed, it just added the triangle part that we selected. Now we don't want that, obviously, so what we need to do is we need to click on that mask we just added and then do Command Inverse. And that's what's going to give us this little banner thing that we wanted. It's a little unproportioned, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not too concerned about that, because I'm actually going to add like a little flag effect to it. Let me go back real quick. That's fine. So now we can go ahead and do rasterized layer style. Or actually, let me go ahead and convert this to a smart object. There we go. Now we can add that warp. So the reason why I added that into a smart object is so when I go to warp it like I am right now, it's warping the whole design. Now when I had that layer mask, it was taking that into consideration, which I don't want. Because what happened was it looked all funky when I warped it. So what I did is I converted it to a layer or a smart object. I'm sorry. And when I converted that to a smart object, it took all the elements that I just designed or added to this banner part, and it pretty much mushed it together into a smart object, and that's why it's when I'm warping it right now, it's warping it all together, which is cool. So you can do that however you want. You can add a warp, you can add a flag effect, you can add a wave effect, you can literally do whatever you want. It's up to you, really. I'm probably going to add a little bit of maybe like an arc or something. I don't really want it to be too crazy. I'm trying to keep this design simple. That's fine, right there. That works for me. So we're gonna go ahead and just basically duplicate this to the other side. And it's not done yet, obviously, guys. This needs some work. This is just a starting point, you know. What I would like to do now is I would like to close these out, you know, to make it look like it's actually part of the banner. So to do that, I would just take my my lasso tool again, and then I would just add a new layer above that, and I would kind of just click on the edge here, click on the bottom here, and just kind of play with it, because I'm actually going to add black to this part, and you don't have to do it all the way to the edge here. I kind of want that curve to show that's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just click right here, click right there, and then what that did is it made a little triangle type shape, and I'm going to use that now. So I'm going to fill that with black first off, and as you can see, it closed the banner out, and now it looks like it's this flag part of it is actually behind the actual rectangle that we drew out. So that's what I wanted. We're going to do that to the other side. I will try to explain as much as I can to the best of my ability, but sometimes it could be a little difficult with, you know, explaining designs in detail. So like I said, I'm going to do the best I can for you guys. So that needs to go to the edge here. I don't want that showing. Basically, I need to do just a little adjustments to it. And I like that. That's cool. And what I can do just to make sure it's all centered is I can what I can do is I can do a convert to smart object again, and that will turn them all into smart objects, which combines them, merges them, and then that's what I wanted. So I'm going to keep that the way it is. So that's good for right now. I like the way it's turning out. I'm not sure I like how sharp these are though, but like I said, it's not that big of a deal right now. I'll end up changing that a little bit. I might actually just do a full warp on it and see what happens. I want a little arc to the banner, in other words, just a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And this design is most likely going to stay black and white. I'm going to do a lot of black and white designs. I will have some designs that are full color to show you guys color, but I want to stick, like I said, I want to stick with the basics right now. I'm actually going to go back a little bit and mess with this banner a little bit more. I wasn't completely happy with the way that turned out, so I'm messing with it a little bit. Okay, so I finally came up with the shape I liked for a banner. This one's like, I like it because it looks like it's going behind it and it's straightening out in the back a little bit more. So I don't know, it looks really cool to me, and it's kind of going with the style that I was going for this camping vintage outdoors design. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with this banner, and then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this little ellipse tool again. Well, we already drew one out, so we're gonna use one that we already drew out first off. And I'm just going to go ahead and mimic the rectangle stroke that I had. Now, if you don't know how to do that, all you do is hold in Alt, and then you just drag the effects all the way to the the layer that you want to copy that effect to. So in this case, we had a stroke on this rectangle 1, which is our banner here, and we held an Alt and we just dragged it to our ellipse 1. And now we need to change the color to white, like we did the banner. Same exact process, guys. And as you can see, now we're getting a little bit of something going on here. So, and now this is when I'm going to mess up the shape a little bit, kind of figure out what I want with it. That's not bad. That's really cool, actually. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to add a layer mask to it because I want to get rid of the bottom here. I don't want that bottom to show. I'm going to go ahead and hide it real quick. It's hiding behind the banner, obviously, so that does not matter. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm going to go ahead and merge this. And you're probably thinking, why are you merging it? You'll see right now. I'm going to go ahead and add a stroke now. And this stroke's actually going to be an outside stroke, and it's going to be a white stroke. I'm extremely tired today, by the way. I'm doing this for you guys, but I'm so tired today. I don't know why. I just have no energy today at all. So, anyway, so what we want to do is, the goal here is to add a white stroke so this banner looks like it's going behind the sun. So that's literally all we're doing here. And that is my girlfriend calling. She doesn't know I'm making a video. I actually lied though. We're gonna take this whole sun and put it over our banner here. The only thing we're gonna do is keep the rectangle 1 above the sun layer, because the reason why is because we want this to cover what we don't want people to see here. If that makes sense. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-explain how to add this stroke. I want you guys to fully understand how I did that. So I was kind of being lazy and explaining it in a bad way. So what I did is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this sun layer. We're going to label this sun. And the sun is the main circle here, the main ellipse tool. So the main ellipse that we drew out in the beginning, I mean. So we're going to take that sun here, and we're going to go ahead and duplicate it. So just duplicate it once, and you're going to have a sun copy after that. Now with that sun copy, we're going to go ahead and just rasterize it completely. And then we're going to add a stroke, outer stroke of about 20. Very slight. See, I don't want it to be too overwhelming. I just want it to show that this sun is behind the rectangle 1 here, which is this layer. And then these banner parts are going behind the sun. You can even add a stroke of 25 to this if you really wanted to. That actually looks a little better, I think. A little bit thicker is fine. But anyway, so now it looks like the sun's actually behind the banner, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now we're going to have some other cool stuff, like, we're going to have like a mountain here and all that stuff. So the one thing I did notice that I do not like is I don't want this sun to be too big. I think it's a little big. Maybe it's not too big. I'm not sure, but to me it looks big, but we'll figure that out in a second here. But we're going to have our text right here. We're going to have our mountains coming up right here. And then this sun, it might need to change just a little bit, I think. I think that's actually all it needed, just to get, it needed to be moved down a little bit. Now it looks pretty good. So we're going to keep that for now. But anyway, so now, so far, we created our banner, we created our sun, and now we're just going to keep adding to this design and bring it to life. What I'm going to do for now is I'm going to put some sample text here. And it's funny because it's on the font that I was going to use, which is an Arial rounded. I was actually going to use this font for this design because it's really simple. So we're just going to move that right there for now. And this is actually going to go with the banner here. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be all small like that. But alright, so now what we need to do is add the mountains. So I'm going to add some mountains. And it's funny because, again, as I said before in the beginning, is all I'm doing really is taking these simple shapes that Photoshop has to offer me and using them in my design. Excuse me. So I'm using them in my design, and I didn't have to go draw them or anything like that. They're already in Photoshop. So that's what's cool about this series. It's teaching you guys how to take shapes that are already in Photoshop and actually using those shapes in your designs. And you can do so many things with them. I can think of a million things to do with one shape. You know, like a triangle, there's a lot of different, you know, ways you can make a design out of that. A circle, a million different ways you can make a design out of that. Literally, there's endless possibility here. And that's why this series is so cool. So, anyway, let me go ahead and take this triangle here, and I'm going to kind of figure out what kind of mountains I want here. I don't know if I want them too pointy, but we're going to just create some mountains here and see what I can come up with for you guys. And just for, you know, just so I can see what I'm doing here, I'm going to go ahead and make the mountains like a different color probably, just for now. So I want the one mountain to have a peak. I think I'm going to keep it pretty standard actually. I don't want it to be too complicated here, you know? So that's actually really cool. Those mountains look really, really cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and merge those. So we already have a mountain going on here, guys. And I'm going to drag that below or behind everything. See? That actually looks really cool. I'm digging the way that's looking. But I'm going to go ahead and, of course, make this white. Because, again, we're sticking with white here and strokes. That's what we're focusing on in this design. And, again, we have like a 50 stroke going on, so we're going to go ahead and stick with the 50 stroke. That is fine. Drag that down. And we're going to go ahead and fix this round part. You know, it kind of looks gross. It just goes around. We're going to fix that with the lasso tool. Just adjust it a little bit. And we're also going to add some little icicle elements to this. Because right now it doesn't look like the mountains have anything on it. But we're going to fix that. And this design is going to have a lot of grunge, by the way. So this isn't just going to stay like this. It's going to have a lot more going on. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix the line work here. It's a little round for my liking. I think it looks sloppy. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lasso tool, and I'm just going to follow the edge here. Kind of figure out where it should lie. That was wrong, so we're just going to keep doing it until we figure it out. That's wrong too, a little bit too much. There. Sometimes I'll spend a lot of time on this little part here. It takes a little bit of time, but you know, I can actually drag it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I can move it up a little bit and just follow around here, you know? See? I can just drag it a little bit, and I can delete stuff, so it's not really a big deal. It's not a significant. It's not going to do anything significant to the design, because you can always like redo it or delete stuff you don't want and all that. Like right here, for instance, I don't want this little back part because it's showing. It looks ugly, so I'm just going to delete it. And now that I have that that line that, you know, fixes this right side, I'm just going to copy it. Everybody has their own way of doing things, guys. I'm not gonna keep saying that, but it's really the truth. Everybody will do something differently. You're gonna watch this video and be like, "Wow, I could have done that a different way than you just did that." But this is the way I'm used to doing it, and it's worked for me all these years. So I just do it the way I think works best for me. Now you're gonna find methods that might work best for you, and I obviously encourage you to try them out. You know, if it works for you, keep doing it. That's all I have to say. So anyway, so those lines are fixed now. Look how much better that looks. Now let me hide them. I'm going to merge them and then hide them and show you the difference between before and after. See, that's before and that's after. It fixed the line and it made it look a lot sharper. And obviously these mountains, we're going for a sharper look here, so we got to stay consistent. Now I might add some shading to these mountains too to bring it out a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and do that next. You know, just some small shading, nothing too crazy. This one's probably a little too big now that I look at it. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to do that shading the way I just did it. I'm actually going to do, I'm going to make it look like it has like icicles or something, you know? For some reason, I'm thinking that would look cooler if it had icicles. Yeah, I like that a lot better, actually. I'm going to stick with that. And, yeah, I just like simple. And like I said, some things can complicate a design, and you have to make a decision, like, is that going to be worth it, you know? or should I just get rid of it? In that case, I didn't really like the way the shading was turning out. I don't think it's really beneficial for this particular design. I would use it in other designs for sure. But for this one, yeah, I just didn't like it. You guys hear my cat? He likes to talk when I start filming. He'll start talking, basically. So anyway, now we have some cool stuff happening here. You know, we have the mountains in the background, we have the sun, and we have the banner. Now what I can do is I was thinking about adding some light rays in the back here. I thought that would look really cool, and there's a lot of ways to do that as well. I'm probably going to do it in. I have like a vector image that I use for light rays. I don't really like to do them by hand. They take a long time to do by hand. You can find light ray vectors all around the internet, so I wouldn't worry too much on that. But you can also make them by hand if you would like to. But I'm going to actually drag some light rays in that I already had made. That way we can get this tutorial going. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay guys, so I actually just dragged my light rays into my Photoshop program here, and I'm going to show you guys how to use these. So again, you can find these online, and I might actually try to link some of these light rays for you guys. I know I purchased these on Shutterstock, but you can use them however you want. Or I mean, you can find them however you like. You can search light rays on Google and find a bunch of free ones, I'm sure. But like I said, for this video, I need to just get it done so I can show you guys how it's done. And if I were to try to draw these out and do all this and that, it would take too much time for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you this way. But what I did is I dragged it into my file here, and I'm just kind of resizing it to my desired width or height, whatever you want to say. So I'm going to drag it like this and just kind of figure out my positioning. Now it's touching the top of my mountains here. I don't mind that so much. I actually like the fact that it's going to the bottom as well. Because I plan on adding something at the bottom here, but I'm not sure just yet. So I might just keep them the way they are here. That looks kind of cool. Yeah, you know what? I like the way they're looking. They look really cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually end up duplicating these probably to add like a white outline around them to give this design a little bit more depth, because right now it's cutting through the black and it's not really, you can't see the light rays anymore. I don't really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a layer mask first, kind of just crop where I don't want it. Like for instance, I don't want it peeking out the sides here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that real quick. And again, I use the layer mask. Get rid of it where they don't need to be, basically. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this real quick. I'm going to merge it. Again, it's just a duplicate copy. I don't mind merging the duplicate copy. I'm going to invert it so it's white. And see what I did here? I just moved it down. I duplicated it, made it white, and moved it down, and now you can actually see where the light rays are. And that's actually really cool. I like the way that looks a lot. So we're going to go ahead and keep that. It looks really cool so far, guys. I'm actually digging it. I'm actually not going to keep the ones at the bottom, though. I decided. It could work, but I wanted to add some text or something there, and it kind of ruins the whole style I was going for. I got a call coming in. Wow. People always call me when I'm making a video. Edit that out. Okay, so like I said, I got rid of the light rays at the bottom here. I didn't want them because I plan on adding some text or something like that right there. So I went ahead and just got rid of those. But now, so we have a sun here, and we have the mountains, and we have the banner. So everything's looking really good. I really dig the way it's looking. It's got a really simple vibe to it, and again, I like simple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mess with the text again. Right now the text needs to follow the arc of this banner, and it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to make that happen. So I'm going to go to the ellipse tool, and I'm going to copy the shape of this banner just by dragging it out here. Like so. And then what happens is once you drag that shape out, you'll see like a faint black line with like 4 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So 4 points. And when you take your T tool, you just press T on the keyboard to get to that. if you hover over that little faint black line, it's going to show like a wave. Once you see that wave, you can actually click once, and it's going to put the T tool going around that path, or the text tool is going to follow that path that you drew out with the ellipse tool. So now we're going to do camp. So I typed out camp, because that's what we're going for here. So you can actually hide the shape so you can see where you're what you're doing here, and you can move it too. All I really wanted was the shape, so that's what we're going for, is the shape, nothing else. And make it a little bigger, obviously. So right now it's not very big. So that's cool. It actually is already centered, I believe. So usually what you would have to do is you'd have to center it by moving these 4 points around, like you see here. I can move it around, but it's already centered, so we're good. Now what I can do is I can just kind of move it where I want it. I like to have even padding on each side here, so that's what I'm going to do. Just keep the padding there. And this is actually a really fun design. So it says camp, and it's got an outdoors feel to it. We're going to add a bunch of grunge to this too to bring it out even more. And I might even add like a little shadow here. Yeah, let me go ahead and mess with the sun a little bit more. I guess in a way this series is you guys following me and watching me design. I hope you guys enjoy that too. I try to make it fun for you. So we have this black circle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work very destructively. I'm going to end up cutting this. I just want like a little shadow to be showing here. Like that. I'm just going to go ahead and select that by holding in Command and clicking on the thumbnail of that ellipse 2 copy, and I'm just going to delete it. Or actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to add a layer mask. Layer masks are smart because you can get rid of the layer mask and it doesn't get rid of your design, if that makes sense. It doesn't destroy your design. So in other words, instead of having to redo this whole ellipse 2 right here, this whole ellipse 2, I can just get rid of the layer mask real quick and then redo it. And that's why those layer masks are so cool. And you can also adjust them by using the layer mask. So for instance, I don't like this little line that's showing up at the bottom here, so I can actually just get rid of it. With my black selected, I can get rid of it. Now if I wanted to bring it back, I could just take my white and bring the whole thing back, see? But we're not doing that. Even though that kind of looks cool. Yeah, actually, you know what? That looks really cool. I was thinking I might actually end up keeping the black part right here and adding text to it. Let me see here. Let's just do a date. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll do Camp Arrowhead. Why not? And I'm just going to add like some sort of cursive font. And you can also download free fonts online. Keep that in mind. So if you guys are wondering, if you guys are frustrated that you can't find a font that I'm using, please don't be frustrated because you can find it for free online. It's really, really easy. So it's going to be called Camp Arrowhead. I'm trying to debate on if I want that black under there or not. I kind of like it though in a weird way. Usually I'm like pretty picky about that stuff, but it looks really good in my opinion. See? Camp Arrowhead. And it's a cool cursive font too, so why not? Yeah, that's really, really cool, guys. I like that. Let's try it without that, though. Or let's try getting rid of it again and see what that looks like. Making the arrowhead black. I don't know. Now I'm confused because I think it looks good either way. You know what? I'm actually just going to get rid of it. I decided to get rid of it. I don't want that bottom part. We're going to make it black again. This This is where designing can be tough because you have to make decisions. I think I'm actually going to make it really big and put it right above that banner. I might have it like invade the banner a little bit. Like that. Kind of following the black line right here. Let me see here. Maybe add like a white stroke on top of it. See what happens when I do that. You know what? I'm actually going to add it right there. And I'll show you why in a second here. I'm going to go ahead and add a layer mask on this banner, or this this rectangle, sorry. Here, you know what? What I'll do is I'll add another rectangle over that one. And the reason why is because I'm going to be hiding what I don't want them to see, what I don't want you guys to see. So I'm going to warp, add an arc, just kind of match the shape of this bottom part here. Like that. See? I can even make it a little bigger. And then what I'll do is I'll add like a little circle here. And you'll see why in a second. So make a new layer actually. And then add a circle. See? That way it has like a circle point versus just a flat point. That looks really cool. So Camp Arrowhead. Arrowhead could be a little bit bigger as well. And obviously we need to center it. Maybe I can even add a little bit bigger of a stroke. It's a little too small. I actually don't like the cursive now that I look at it, so I might mess with that a little bit. That was actually really cool. It's not bad. Camp Arrowhead. That works. I'll keep that, why not? So there you go, guys. We just made a camping shirt design in a matter of 30 minutes or so, or however long it took. And I mean, it just goes to show you that you can make something really quick. But that's basically the first part, right? We put the design together. Now we approved it. Let's say we're all happy with it. Now I can actually finally add the grunge. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the grunge before we finalize this video. So now it's kind of the fun part because we can go ahead and basically group everything in one layer, essentially. So you create a group, name this design or whatever, because this is going to be the main design. It's going to hold everything that makes up the design. So eventually you're going to have something called design in a group, and all you did is made a new folder, and you renamed it design, and you just pretty much dragged everything into that design folder. Or you can select all your layers and then just hit folder, and it's going to group them automatically, which is kind of a cool feature, I think. But now that we have our design and we're happy with it, we can go ahead and go to copy merged. So what I did is I do Command A, and then I do copy merged, and then Command V, and that will paste it. So we have the design. And we're just going to pretty much add some grunge on top of it. Normally I would do a lot of I would try to control my grunge so it's not all over the place, but for this particular video, or particular design I should say, I'm not too, I don't really care as much, you know, like I want it to just look grungy, but I don't want it to be too controlled. When I do band shirt designs, I usually like to add like an inner stroke where the black is, and all that stuff. That way the grunge doesn't affect the outer edges of the design, but for this case, I think it looks cool, just rough. So we're just going to keep it rough. Like so. And you're going to see a lot of different methods of grunge. You know, we're going to go over a lot, so don't worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that now. As you can see, we're keeping it very, very, very grungy. And then below the actual texture design, I'll name it texture design, we're going to actually add a little bit of black grunge to it. See? Just to give it a little bit of something. And then you can even add a layer mask again. Notice I'm using layer mask a lot, guys. Use your layer mask, it helps. And just kind of get rid of some of the grunge that I don't want on the outer edges. Alright guys, so what we did is we just added some texture to this design here. We added some texture over the design, I should say, by adding a new layer. And then what we did is we added a layer below the texture design, and we just added some grunge. And now, if you guys are unfamiliar with texture, I actually have a video that shows you how to make texture from scratch. So if I was you, I'd watch that video first, and that will give you an idea of how I'm actually adding grunge to this design. So please go back to that grunge video that I made. It will help you out. I know a lot of people will probably be frustrated because I'm not explaining how to actually do the grunge in this video, but again, I do go over that in other videos. So please watch those videos because they will teach you how to do the grunge side of things. And you'll, when I'm doing my, throughout my series, I'm going to be adding some grunge to some of the designs, probably a lot of them. So it's going to be essential that you even know how to do that because, again, you're just going to be confused on how I'm grunging. So again, learn how to make textures from scratch in one of my other videos, and then that way you know how to do this part of the tutorial. But anyway, I hope this tutorial is really good for you guys. I hope you learned something. I'm trying to explain things in detail, but I can't explain everything. It's impossible. There's so much to learn in Photoshop, and it'd be really hard for me to teach you guys everything. I would have to do like a 3-hour video to teach you guys literally everything. But at least these videos will give you an idea of how I'm structuring my designs, how I'm putting them together, and even showing you some tips and tricks along the way of how I do it. I know I vaguely go over things, but again, it's just to show you guys a general idea of how I do it. So that concludes episode 1. I'll see you guys soon for episode 2. And of course, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and tell your friends about my channel. It means a lot to me. And thank you guys for the support. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.